Hello everyone, I hope you're having a wonderful day. Today we have two public matches for you. The first one here is Anderson's counter attack, followed up by our second map here, which is Reno's Fall. You're seeing an overview of both of those maps right now. Thank you to our Patreon members for the support. If you like the support, go to the link in the description where you can get live broadcasts of everything we do. You can advertise your regiment on the bottom of our videos and get raw gameplay footage of our events with no commentary, no UI. This is great. We got about a 200-man server here tonight. It's about 7 o'clock. Your CSA officers, you got Red, Slumpy, Danson, and my name Ryder. That is a list of officers that I have not seen before. And for Union, you got War Master, Snacks or Colt, Patriot, and Krabby Brute. Co-commentating with me today, we got John Wick. John Wick, would you like to introduce yourself?
I am John Hazard Wick, Major of the Eagle Brigade. Hello there, everybody.
And we're glad to have you here. So, Eagles Brigade, Union Regiment, what would you say Union strategy is on this map?
Prime Union strategy on Anderson's, I would always play off the left. Some of the left is on point, maybe even in the woods. You can use that to your advantage when you want to force the enemy to cap. If you're on the right flank, it's going to be a lot harder for you to play a defense because you give the enemy control of the point and you don't really have an avenue of attack.
Nice A, hold fire. Nice A, hold fire. Take aim, gentlemen.
Speaking of this Union strategy, they are all spread out very, very badly.
Which, most pub matches, especially, I mean, even regimental, but blobbing up, if your team's more blobbed up, obviously you're going to have the numbers advantage. You see way more success from that. Snacks or Colt for the Unions out on the far right. You also, not far right, center, yeah, Patriot there as well. Union holding on the left side. Looks like this company's officers down, but you got Krabby Brute over on this side. CSA all clumped up, pushing down the woods here. That's what you normally see from CSA. Once Union loses these positions kind of in the woods, it can be very hard for them to kind of win this map. It's like a big old domino effect.
Now, the one thing that could change my mind on this being too spread out is if this flanking force here with Snacks and Patriot, if they converge on the flank as the CSA pushes up towards this other force here in the woods, maybe, just maybe, you can split them. Cause them to panic and fall back a bit.
Yeah, that definitely could be a possibility. It'll be hard to coordinate. We'll see how... Oh, and speaking of that, I think CSA is starting to move up. Looks like one company is at least dancing his guys going forward on the left side. I mean, if Union collapsed, like you were saying, this could be a great chance, and they might be doing that. Guess they're going up to the logs.
Rambo on the left side of the tree. Left side tree.
Boys, hold on these rocks. Hold on these rocks.
Only up to shoot, it looks like, on this flank.
Just
Allowing
getting,
Danson to fall back a bit.
trying to get better cover there in the woods. And not get hit as hard.
Defend fire south and east, depending on which side you are.
Looks like Danson's
I'm
gonna
always
fire.
skeptical when it comes to trying to shoot an enemy that is entrenched in woodline and I'm out in the open. I would definitely change the strategy up because, as you can see here, we're losing the tickets a little bit.
Yeah,
just
Union's
very
down.
slightly.
Attackers have a little bit more tickets. You can kind of see the shootouts go about even generally in tickets. You can see Union's down a little bit on tickets. Union having, what, 10 dudes on artillery? Bit iffy on my part. But, so, I've seen you a lot in pubs. So, how often do you play pubs compared to regimentals, and which one do you prefer?
I play pubs. I try to do it every day. If not every day, I do every other day just to avoid burnout. Which one I prefer? That's a good question. Honestly, I like both. But if it comes to, like, if I had to choose one or the other, I would kind of choose pub play just because I like the I like the randomness that is involved. It's not, you know, choreographed. Everything happens, and in my opinion, in order to be a good officer, you have to react quickly to ever-changing circumstances.
So
And
very
Pubs
true.
is a perfect playground for it, in my opinion.
And CSA starting to now push up. Starting to hit a little spread out, but they're all eventually making it up here. Those two Union companies still kind of sitting on the far side. Some of those soldiers moving in, but not a whole lot. And this is great for CSA.
Flanking force did not arrive nearly quick in time.
Keep going.
And this is the worst part about it, because the CSA's now wiped the main defense. So now the flanking force is all alone, and they are going to get wiped in detail as well.
Yep, and they're very spread out too. A lot of auto lines and skirmishing deaths for CSA to get. And I mean, you can see the tickets. They're still kind of even, but CSA is taking this ground, which is huge. A couple Union guys still here. They don't have flags. CSA flags are down. Yeah, CSA kept most of their flags back. One CSA flag up here down. They're not picking it up. There you go. Yeah, CSA take the ground. That's significant for them. It's going to be a little hard for Union to communicate, whether it be through text or voice. In pubs, how do you like to communicate with other officers? Like in game text chat, run up to voice chat with them. Like, how do you like to communicate in pubs?
I always say it depends on the distance. If it's a far distance, I use text chat. Sometimes I do send a courier over when they don't read text chat, and sometimes I just go up to them myself. You know, on the smaller maps like Otto and Sherrick, I would just go up to them myself, explain. Now, there are the officers that do not read text chat, and to those officers, I would plead to you, read the text chat, because it helps not just your company, but your team coordinate. Without coordination, you ain't gonna win. I'm sorry. You could do massive, awesome flanks with your company, but you're still not gonna win because it's a team game.
So kind of bouncing off on coordination. So at the beginning of the round, do you like to meet up with the other officers and try to come up with a plan? Or do you just wing it?
Yes. I would say 100% try to come up with a plan right away. If the other officers are not looking forward to working together, then I would take the company and I would wing it and go off of reaction. Now, if I see another officer, like, for example, going in for a charge, my instinct is to join them right away, just because, even if it will fail, because, you know, going in with a stronger force, at least there's a higher chance of victory and maybe even a higher chance of inflicting, you know, more tickets on the enemy if we go in together than going alone. So I always like to... It depends on my company size as well, too, because I've had companies that I've had to command 20-man companies. I've commanded over 95-man companies. So it all depends on the number as well.
How dare you give a very gray answer on a game that is totally black and white and static and no changing happens on the battlefield. I'm all kidding, by the way. Union's charging in. And I mean, yeah, a lot of that makes sense. I mean, that's the great part about War of Rights. Everything changes from the server size that you're playing with, the type of officers. Everything changes. It's great. Union trying to retake this ground here. They're down a fair amount of tickets, but they are going to take at least the rock. CSA starting to clump up, though. Union losing their artillery. CSA pushing up. Yeah. Union hitting engaged. Kind of want to... CSA pushing up the center. They're on point. Capping right now. Not really charging on that side. Union's winning in the woods.
The Union wipes the CSA in the woods. The CSA is going to have a lot of trouble falling back because they'll be damn near encircled.
Yeah, they got 2 down flags here. Danson's trying to charge his 10 guys in. A little outnumbered, though.
And way too late.
Yeah.
Way too late. lot of commanding is also reactionary when it comes down to HUD play. Once you hear the shooting, if you yourself aren't engaged and you aren't near the enemy, and you just hear a bunch of shooting go off, go towards the shooting. That's how I ride. I go towards the shooting.
We just held that.
That's very fair. Makes sense too. Union kind of retook the field now, down a fourth of a morale stage, but retook the field, and that's huge for them. I think CSA got a little too risky splitting up their team. Somehow losing the fight on point. I don't know. They looked like they outnumbered the Union, but they lost.
These level 1s are out of line. Very, very
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah, if you're new to War of Rights, War of Rights is a team-based game, as you may have noticed this game, and deaths are not equal. So if you die when you're all alone, like these people are in front of us on the screen, your team loses 5 tickets. When you're by a couple of people, you lose 3 when you die. When you're by a lot of people, you only lose 1. So it encourages people to stand by together. Except Brit here. What are we doing? Brit's Ramboing. We're gonna dox him. I mean, he's getting kills. I mean, he's ticket positive right now. He's really ticket positive. He's gotten like 3 out of lines. Oh, is he gonna get 4? No way. He gets 4. And finally goes down.
And coming from CSA spawn, 3 avenues of attack. This is interesting. 2 companies are close, maybe 3. I do see 3 stars now. And then 1 is far, far off.
Yeah. It's kind of cool to see. 3 prongs moving through the woods. See how it goes. Yeah, 2 of the officers on top of each other.
I would say smaller companies should definitely unite, especially when it comes to the woodlands right here.
I don't believe that.
So, kind of a question on that. So this is a change that happened a long, long time ago. But they used to have 2 officers per team instead of 4.
Oh, I remember those days.
Do you have any thoughts on that?
When it came down to the 2 officers per team, I was definitely not a fan of it. And the reason is because every time you would go on, those same officers, those 2 officers, would be bickering with each other, like almost all the time. So it was like, you know, it got to the point where it's like the people who actually want to lead, and, you know, not to give any flack, but the people that actually want to play the game and lead, they couldn't take an officer slot because it was always, you know, these people that would be just straight up bickering or not get along or can't even coordinate. So I like the 4 officers. However, I think the system needs to be a little bit more reformed when it comes down to, you know, updating it. I think honestly they should have like maybe 2 or 3 actual regiments to play, and then in the actual regiments you can create the companies out of it and stuff. Also, maybe even going off the Blackwick system of nominating officers would be a good idea.
That would be interesting.
It would be. It would also. I think it would also eliminate the.
I'm gonna kill him.
You know, the incessant. The bad officers. Let's just say the bad officers. I'm not going to name drop, but you know, the bad officers of both sides. It would eliminate that issue.
Because they did put the XP system in there to kind of prevent, quote-unquote, new and inexperienced bad officers, but obviously even regardless of when you start playing officer, there's going to be a learning curve, and sometimes people don't learn. But I guess the question I should have started off with is, when did you get War of Rights? Why'd you get it? Because it seems you've been here for a while if you knew about the 2 officer change, or 2 to 4 officer change.
I remember when War of Rights used to be only 10 slots in the drill camp. I was all the way back then. So I've been probably, I've gotten War of Rights since 7 years now, maybe going on 8.
Dang.
Starting next year.
CSA's pushing
one
in.
of the crowdfunders.
Oh, wow.
The original crowdfunders for the game. I pledged the major edition.
Are we holding?
Still waiting for those the rewards for that.
I want my Hawken rifle, exactly.
Give them another.
That thing's gonna be a beauty.
It'll be great. CSA pushing up. They're kind of on point now. Danson's company is Union. Kind of not there. They're falling a little further back on those rocks. Somewhat in cover. CSA using caissons on the rock. They're also holding in the woods there. And
What's scary
yeah,
is this, they're split again. The CSA split again. They have Danson on point, which honestly Union could just envelop and crush him immediately with how much forces they have towards the point. Committed.
I don't know if that'll happen. Union seems very keen on keeping this defensive line that they currently have. That being the rocks kind of in this open field where Union right is to the rocks on the left side. Which, I mean, it's so far going, I would say, kind of well for Union. I mean, 20 minutes into the round, a third of the way to taking losses. I don't think Union's doing a half bad of a job. CSA might need to cap soon if they don't pick up the pace. Let's see. Union have an artillery officer.
CSA's got a new officer, now Major Knight his own.
Major Knight of the Tennessee Brigade, is it? It
Yep.
is indeed.
Everybody about face, set the sprint on me.
Danson's running back off the point. I
He
mean,
doesn't want to cap.
yeah, interesting. I mean, they definitely have enough time to knock out the braking, but it's a question of can you win a charge? And the results have been mixed. Granted, the time CSA lost, they were split into two groups. So
That's another thing when it comes to the leveling system that it's quite sad is we have these experienced officers who should be showing new players, and I'm talking experienced officers like, you know, with a black background, 60 and up. We have these experienced officers rambling, which is showing new players a bad example because it's always us experienced officers that complain about the Rambos.
right.
Especially on maps that, you know, you can't really have that, like Cooks, Auto and Jerk on the CSA, you can't really have that. Nicodemus Hill is a big one. I hate seeing high level people Rambo. But I do think you are right about the learning curve when it comes to officers. Some officers do not get ever past the learning curve, and it's dangerous. It really is.
And I mean, because that's a hard thing with War of Rights only have really one active server, and most people that want an officer hopping on during the evenings trying to fight for spots when you have a higher pop server. Like, we're getting up there. It's 2:30. It's almost prime time at night, but it can be very hard to get training as an officer. There's only one server. I've heard arguments against raising the player count for that explicit reason. On top of the fact that War of Rights only has one server and it makes the game look quote-unquote dead. Which it's been growing over the years and it's been great to see, but
I think honestly, if we really wanted to, you know, incorporate more players, I think the Pub Officer Discord should create a plan to have maybe two of their servers up at the same time, you know, seated and hosted. That way people can join which one, you know, one map have it on Antietam, one map have it on South Mountain or whatever.
Exactly. And I think that's
what they should do.
I think the sucky part about only having one server too is you've got either Antietam, Harper's Ferry, or South Mountain, or you only have skirmish, contention, or conquest. It's like there's no diversity, and I think that's a very good idea. CSA is now pushing forward. Both sides going to take losses at the moment. We'll see how Union's able to hold this. Union's in a big old line, but a good chunk of CSA 3 companies are slamming into the Union left. This should have initial success, but we'll see if Union collapses.
Immediately honestly, so far, no reaction from the right flank of the Union.
Union go down both sides, taking losses. Krabby Brute and Snack starting to turn their guys. Union's holding very well.
Over here, boys. Over here. Over here.
A little bit more, you get loads.
Better than expected.
Really. And Union needs to collapse on this. Granted, CSA has one flag up here, but with how quick people can spawn in these days, you need to, especially when you have the advantage, wipe in. Granted, they don't know they have the advantage, right? There's a lot going on the ground that they have to focus on that we up here think is obvious, but
I can do that one.
Union's not charging in.
I remember that heated argument of the respawn timer.
What is your opinion on that? If you don't know, it went from 10 seconds to 5 second respawns per person.
I have a extremely rare opinion on it. I actually like it.
You like
There's a
it?
reason. I like
What's
it.
the reason?
I think, honestly, it changes the gameplay that we've been so comfortable with for like 4 years. So it's kind of refreshing, if you know what I mean, to get like a new sense of, you know, create new strategies, new metas with all the fast respawns. I guess I've just suffered 300-second respawn times on the first push.
That's true.
So there's that.
Those are directional lines. Those are directional lines.
That map is so good, guys.
Why is it not a contention or conquest map? Yeah.
That one I would be interested in cavalry on.
That would be something if it comes out.
Yeah, don't be standing next to people. It's like, oh, they're gonna shoot at. They're gonna try to concentrate.
CSA push fails. That is really interesting.
I mean, they gained the rocks. Union's not really taking advantage of it, and they're kind of reforming. If you zoom out, CSA's pushed up to the rocks near point. They're actually starting to get around the Union right, but I think Union outnumbers CSA on CSA right, Union left.
One thing I do notice commanding Union forces a lot,
Shoot 'em out.
some officers really do love to panic. And by panic, I mean they see CSA on the left, they see CSA on the right, they see CSA in the center, and they just freeze. They don't react, they just freeze. That is our #1 weakness. I think if officers can, you know, get our minds together, coordinated and ready, don't matter what the strategy is, as long as we're coordinated, maybe our defeats wouldn't be so often, you know.
Right.
I mean, last couple days we've been winning a lot. We've been winning so much. But the struggle, you know, the whole Union Summer of Love, the reason why that was created was because we were losing.
Union's charging
a lot.
CSA right. Or at least, I think they are. Oh, CSA's trying to fall back on the right. Union's trying to cut them off.
Here comes the reinforcements, though. This is dangerous. War Master's going alone by himself, allowing his entire army to be flanked.
Very high chance of disorganization on part of the Union.
That's the game mistake right there. Boom. That's the game-breaking mistake, because now the CSA is charging this right flank, storming with 2 companies. Union's only got 1 company to respond.
Oh, charging's happening on the other side too.
That single move jeopardized the entire position. CSA's got it.
Knight's holding his guys back. Another CSA company charged in. They all died. But yeah, I mean, we got a 4th of morale stage difference. I mean, this is a lot better of a performance I've seen from Union. But kind of back to that point where if officers freeze up when they see a lot of CSA around them, I don't know. If I see a lot of your opponents spread out around you, that means they're thin. You could blow them up and defeat in detail. If you do want to charge.
I agree. I'm very aggressive when I lead, so it's... I mean, except when it comes to Cook's counter charge, but otherwise I'm very aggressive.
Behind you guys, southeast. Southeast, those are all enemies. Southeast.
I have trouble. I'm like the Union coach when it comes to Cook's counter charge. There's a lot of commanders that like to charge on that map. It's like, absolutely not. Avoid, avoid, avoid.
If we zoom out briefly here, Danson's rambling in on by himself, but CSA is about to pincer the Union team if they push up through the woods.
See, the worst thing about this is that these two companies are isolated. Union sees that, but they're just shooting at it rather than going in, and they outnumber them at least maybe 1.5 to 1.
Yep.
We gotta farm them.
Nah, that guy even said that too. That guy even
I
said farm
heard.
'em.
I hear some Union soldiers saying we gotta farm them, but at 1-to-1
farming
trades,
you.
you're losing as the defenders. Yeah, really. And if CSA on the right collapse on Union, which it looks like they're moving that way, my name Ryder is,
Hey, on this line! Cut that grass in the pit.
and he's gonna start shooting in the back of the Union. They have a little bit of cover, but
Coming up on the right. West, northwest.
CSA's capturing. They're gonna edge the cap to breaking. And
oh
win.
yeah.
We're moving.
If the Union wants to win, they would have immediately swallowed up this small 2 companies.
That Union artillery shot just
Now
shot
they're going in.
off to nowhere. Anyway, sorry.
Now they're going in now, but it's too late. Too late.
I mean, that's
Especially
that's
if Red shifts over here with this small company. If he shifts over to the left, it's done.
Sylvia, I'm getting tired of you.
I'm sorry.
that's the one sad thing about watching so many War of Rights matches. You tend to start seeing things over and over again, and it's kind of sad.
I hate to say it, but a lot of it is from repetitive professional officers. Professional officers. We'll use that term,
Yeah.
professional officers.
Union taking back the point. CSA is about to hit breaking.
CSAs don't. I realize with the CSA, they
Red's
don't
moving
really
over.
have the, you know, the stereotypical professional bad officer. They really don't, from what
Yeah.
I've seen. There's only one that I can think of. Where the Union, we have many, and I mean
Unions-
many.
Disorganized a little bit, and they're trying to charge the CSA out. Very aggressive here from Union.
Good to see,
I mean,
but it's
not a bad
way,
idea.
way too late. They gain control of point though, and I think the CSA is so split they might get it.
Yeah, Union's gonna hold that out and at least delay the Confederates another couple minutes here, but they're down a fair amount of tickets.
I will say
don't
they
know-
were down over 1/2 a bar, and now it's back to only down maybe 1/10 of a bar. So that's really impressive by the Union team. I will say that.
I will say I think the start of the bars for each morale stage are very deceiving. I think they go way slower to start. Like I think the bars extend past where they show on screen.
Yeah, I
So
do agree.
I think we're gonna see Union go down a fair amount of tickets before we see CSA start going down. But what the heck?
I love it. This flag bearer's named Minnesota Nice. I command the 5th Minnesota in EB.
I'm not even gonna babysit the Union.
You guys
But
have
we're
a
not.
Minnesota regiment?
Yeah, we have the 5th Minnesota. My home
Huh.
state, so I gotta represent.
That's so true. I never repped my home state.
Yeah, just play with
There's
me.
only
Go
one
what's wrong?
regiment, Michigan. I think there's only the
Michigan?
17th Michigan. So-
We do have we have a Michiganders currently on LOA due to work, but he is an NCO with us.
Ah.
Former Confederate that went Union.
Oh. Well, at least he came to the right side in the end.
Yeah,
gonna-
he fought for a Virginia unit. Then seen us on, was like, you know what, I gotta join my home Union. I was like, welcome aboard,
Fire, keep
brother.
it fire.
So true.
Get this
Welcome
fire
to
up,
the
boys.
winning
Press
team.
F on it.
I shouldn't say that on this one though, because the Union's,
Yeah.
in fact, getting destroyed in detail.
Actually, out of all the pub matches I've watched, this is probably the best I've seen Union play. I don't know. I think compared to what I've seen, Union's playing not that bad. They seemed a lot more organized. That's for sure. Still making mistakes, but those always happen. Union falling back. I think trying to
I would
conserve
even
tickets.
say the biggest mistake when it comes to officers coordinating is developing a distaste for each other. I really think it's so harmful to cohesion when you develop a negative opinion about a fellow officer, and it's quite hypocritical of me because I do have those opinions. of some of our more professional officers. But it is harmful, especially when you put prejudice before, cooperation and planning. I never do that, though. I may have my opinion, but I would never jeopardize the team when it comes to coordinating. I think that takes precedence before anything.
Would agree with that entirely. Only one way your team's going to win. Certainly not going to happen if you two are bickering, or anybody for that matter. But
I would agree.
I mean, I've watched some matches where the forward Union officers just start yelling at each other the whole time, and it is not fun to watch. Just kind of like, ugh.
I've been a part of those slugfests, and oh my, it's not fun.
I did one pub officer match a couple of months ago. I was Union Hills, and I got into a bickering argument with one of the other officers at the end of the game because CSA capped on a low taking losses, and so both sides were low taking losses. I'm like, hey, we should try to push them to the last stand, right? Because now they're considered the defenders. They're defending the point. They capped. They're defending, so we need to push them to the last stand. It's the only way you can win. And so I got the whole team to mass charge, and it was great, and it was beautiful. And then we lost the charge, right? Because obviously when you're charging across a big open field with the enemy having artillery and a position, you might lose that. But we were knocking everybody's tickets down. And I'm like, okay, we need to hit them again. But then one officer was like, no, we lost the charge. We need to stop charging. Just shoot them down. Which he kept like 20, 30 guys back, and lost the game because we sat and shot, and they held the counterattack. Or something like that.
Honestly, that's when I'll give a point to the professional officer over the new officer. Is the professional officer, despite making horrible decisions, sometimes there's a chance that they join team charges. Newer players, they don't get the ticket system. They just go off of the whole historical necessity. Oh, if we lost the charge, we need to regroup. It's like, especially if you're the attacker. I know on hills you're not the attacker's union, but let's say you're an attacker, like Otto and Sherrod, for example. You're not going to win that map by just shooting it out. You're going to have to do a couple charges.
Right.
And that goes for most attacking maps. And I've argued with some new officers sometimes. I try not to argue with them. I try to give them tips like, hey, it's war of rights. You can't win by just shooting out. If you could, it'd be a lot easier. But you can't. As the attacker, you got more tickets, and you have to really get into melees to make sure the enemy stays down at a disadvantage. And it turned into an argument when a new officer was like, hey, that's a stupid idea. Especially when they keep beating us in said charges. It's like, okay, well, how about let's maneuver and adapt our tactics then, and change it to fit the next situation, instead of, completely throwing the winning strategy out the window.
Union starting to fall back as CSA slightly pushes forward here. Artillery hitting the K-sound, but not killing anybody for CSA. Union's really just trying to avoid ticket loss, and they're giving up ground. Some guys are staying forward, though. I don't think they have an officer to order them back.
Be a big mistake. Yep, and now they're being charged.
But yeah, I mean, Knight is just, or Danson. Knight was up here, but Danson's just getting great shots and some nice skirmishing on the line. And yeah, kind of to that point though of just the game being complex. It is a complex game. The system that is in place, especially for skirmish, very complex, especially when it comes to capping the point and how the roles are flipped. It is insanely complex. It took me a while to figure out, and I think that's part of the issue too. Is just people don't necessarily know how the game mechanics work to the max, and so that can create a disconnect in terms of more veteran versus newer officers. Even veteran officers sometimes don't know things. It's just so
I know
complex.
when it comes down to
CSA's pushing out.
Contention advocate. Big contention advocate.
My name Ryder's pushing his guys out. They're not capping. Union's kind of just sitting as far back as they can while still on the edge of it.
Get to the cannons.
Union artillery, what are we doing?
Bit of an overshot.
I want to start another artillery ran, I will.
I could never imagine myself in anything but an infantry commander.
Yep.
Over the years, I've had many opportunities to be an arty commander, skirmish commander, sharps commander, cav commander. I fell in love with the infantry.
Thank you,
I
Danson, thank you.
immediately loved infantry,
I was telling
which
you
is
from
rare.
I'm gonna go to the left.
A lot of
Whoa.
people find the infantry gameplay, you know, dull, repetitive, foot slogging, boring, etc., etc., etc. I like it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you like strategy and tactician type stuff, I mean, officers for you. Both sides about to hit their last stage. CSA shifting most of their guys on point. Union really just gave that up to avoid taking too many losses, which is fair. Union's probably going to hit last stand first, which you don't know. They can't respawn anymore once they hit that. Attackers' last stage is final push, meaning they essentially have infinite tickets. Their deaths, where they die doesn't matter, but they only have a limited time. That black time will go down to probably 2 or so.
When it comes to this map especially, Union's got to really pick and choose their charges, I will say. The CSA team has, I believe this entire CSA team has bucking balls, so that would change up the melee strategy quite a bit.
Press T, follow your CO, boys.
Let's see, when will they hit the last stage? I mean, what is this Union company doing? They actually I don't know if I like that. He's trying to flank around, hit CSA in the side. Danson saw him and is pushing in. They hit final push now. I don't think Union's winning this game.
He's got such a small company, the initial result will work out, but the CSA will adjust more forces in time, and they got the forces coming from main spawn to pincer in as well, so that is not a tenable position for long.
No. I mean, all these dudes that are dying on Union side, they don't get back in. CSA is going to keep respawning their guys, and CSA is trying to charge.
Bad
they're trying to charge
the CSA.
Really?
Very bad mistake.
If Union wins this, it's going to be huge for them.
This is a very, yep, they're going in just by a funnel too. What is that artillery doing?
Some falling back too for CSA.
These artillery shots would damn near hit Burnside's bridge. My gosh. All of them have missed.
Holy crap.
CSA's made it to the Union line, but the Union is just shredding this advance.
I mean, CSA flags keeping guys spawning in. 2 minutes left. Even though Union's holding very well, I don't know if Union's going to be able to hold this.
I would countercharge the entire army. I would countercharge, kill their flags, keep them on point. CSA is having trouble to organize their forces. The problem with this is the Union, they may be on point, but they're allowing CSA to trickle in from their main spawn.
They also have 3 flags. That's 3 dudes every 5 seconds.
Yeah, the Union cannot win when it comes down to this. And
points going in CSA's favor.
They should have gone in 30 seconds ago, but because now the CSA has got a lot of people on point, I doubt the Union's going to win this. Yep, now they're going to win.
That's I do not like the flag change, and this is partially one of the reasons why. I mean, look at CSA rejuvenated after doing that dumb charge. You don't really get punished for doing bad decisions anymore.
I would somewhat agree, but when it comes down to tickets, I think you would get punished in the tickets big time. And it forces the officer to pay more attention. For example, right, let's say I'm leading a company out in the open field, and I'm in a volley fight with the opposing company also in the open field. As an officer, you got to pay more attention with 5-second respawn, because more people are respawning every second, so you're not really paying attention to how many deaths are occurring, or actually how many losses you're actually taking. So it pays, it makes the officer pay attention to the ticket loss as well and stuff.
I guess. I'll continue this one when we start the next round, but CSA win. Your thoughts, John Wick? for the round?
I think the War Master attack on the left when he went in by himself really costed the Union. I think if he wouldn't have done that, the Union probably actually would have won the match because it would have created such a cushion in tickets. I think the Union could have won it. Sad result.
Yeah, I mean, as I was saying earlier, this was probably the best I've seen Union play this, at least in pubs in a while. It's still a loss. It's not an easy map, that's for sure, but they put up a good fight. That was a heck of a thing to watch. But with that all being said, we will see you shortly in round number 2. And here we are with round number 2. We're getting later in the night. It's 260 for CSA officers. We got Jackson, you got Knight, Tater, and Viceroy of Texas. And for Union, you got Nike, Senior Daz, Rollins, Krabby Brute, and Lightburn for Union Artillery. 15 guys on it. Anyways, John Wick, I know I heard your thoughts a moment ago, but again, what do you think of Union having 15 artillerymen on this map? Which, for those of you who don't know, the fighting's happening here. Artillery's all the way back here.
I love you, Lightburn. Don't get me wrong on this, but this is a god-awful decision. I mean, it is horrendous. This is the worst Union Arty position I have ever seen on pretty much any map besides Cooks and maybe even Hookers. But, you know, this is awful. Like, it's so far back here, you can't even aim, and chances are if you fire a shot from back here, you're going to hit friendlies. It's awful.
Yeah.
Awful position. And honestly, on Reno's Fall, this is a very tough map despite just a very slight ticket lead because of how much misplays occur. You need as much rifles as possible. As much rifles as possible as you need.
CSA just rolled a gun into the corn, and that was the weirdest thing. Like, some dude was tilted sideways. Speaking of Union plan, what do you think Union should be trying to do to win Reno's Fall? It's not an easy map, but what do you think they should do?
I think Union... This is not a bad defensive line. I would agree somewhat with this.
No, we don't have buck and ball.
The big concern is if the CSA either charges through the forest or they try to flank on the far right flank. Either way, you can't let them have possession of the stone wall. If they take the stone wall, I think it's over. I've never seen a single Reno's match where the Union's lost the position, able to retake it. Not once in all my years. So as long as the Union holds the wall, they have a very good chance of winning despite any ticket loss. But when it comes down to letting the CSA have it, bad mistake. I would rather fight it out than let them cap ever on this one.
Yep. And for some more, I guess, context, you see the point of contention, the little flag marker is above these rocks here in the middle of the map. But as John Wick was mentioning, that stone wall, it's also a point. The points in this game are absurd. They're really big. They're really in weird formations. It's almost like gerrymandering the map, but it's interesting. And that stone wall is everything on this map. So we'll see how CSA wants to attack this. They're a little spread out. Starting to push up a little bit in the center of the map, which, again, normally don't see CSA go deep through the woods or run around the far Union right and hit through the corn. But we'll see.
Good kills. You guys killed 2 of them, right?
Another thing I see is bugles, musicians. I pray that the devs add some bonus. I don't care what they create out of it, just add something, because wasted rifle slots, which is what most people see musicians as, it's quite depressing sometimes, because they get team killed a lot, and that just in turn wastes more tickets. Like, even if it's just, you know, I don't know, drums create a more steadying aim or something like that, and Bugle crates.
You need to restart your game.
I don't know. Maybe ticket reduction. I have no clue how you'd work it in, but something. Give it meaning. Instead of just a cosmetic that gets team killed.
Take aim. I'm sorry, I was in
I mean, with the last war rates tutorial we made on this channel, and we're also gonna hopefully post another one, a new one for the Steam sale. But I mean, we even mentioned in the tutorial that they offer nothing in the game, and there's almost no point in going in that role.
Oh, here's a massive attack. Viceroy and Taters trying to smash into the left.
And Union's a little
And
spread out.
another company coming. Jackson coming in as well. This is very, very bad.
Hold, German, hold.
This map is a little similarly set up to the last one, in a sense. CSA charge a little spread out. Union's holding better than expected, still losing. Union Company, Krabby Brutes collapsing. Right as CSA more.
Nike is too
Jackson.
far to the right. He's too far to the right. He's going to go back to the wood line and find that CSA has it. I would hold this angle now if I was the Terrible spot to hold, but you need reinforcements. Half the army is at main spawn. What you going to do? You're going to have to make do with what you got.
What, Rollins is going to charge in here?
4th West Virginia is moving a limber through. Wait, I'm sorry. Are they bringing a gun all the way up to the angle?
Yes.
Save your life.
That's dedication. I mean, I'll give it that. I'll give the Union Army crew that. That is dedication
What?
at its finest. Loves to see it.
What is Union
16
doing?
people on artillery is still ridiculous.
Union's charging in here. Point going in
Oh my
CSA
gosh,
favor.
it's-
They're starting to push up the stone wall. Union scattered. This is embarrassing.
Okay, Rollins, I love you. Love you, Rollins, but this is... What is this? Come on. I mean,
We
you
don't.
probably equal the CSA's number and they got bucking ball. You need more people. If they're going to retake the woods, the Union has to come up from main spawn quick as possible.
It's okay.
We don't make fun of people here. We make fun of strategies and things done. I don't hate anybody. I hate your strategies. Anyways. But, yeah, no.
Up, Knight's company has taken the cornfield, and this is the danger. Charging the woods, leaving the angle. Now Knight's come up, and he's going to take the point, and it's pretty much going to be Jover for the Union, because the Union cannot counterattack this position.
Oh, and speaking of counterattack, they're trying to slam in the main spawn that died originally. They're trying to hit the CSA.
Seriously, like why would you?
Maybe, just maybe, if this main spawn element can wipe the CSA, they can smash this angle with the rest of the army and beat Knight here. It's a gamble. And here's the danger, though. The Union rolling up the gun through the cornfield. The CSA is not even 20 yards ahead of this gun, this advanced gun here. And the CSA sent a Rambo to clean up the arty.
Sent a Rambo. That's the first time I've heard that used.
They sent a Rambo.
And the
it's
Rambo
the
wins.
Rambo has killed 4 people. That is so much tickets.
So, CSA take up the corner position. Knight does. Union does successfully charge through. They're continuing to charge. Way over here, CSA's trickling in from main spawn. Union's going to hit engaged any second now.
I will say, where is this energy on the artillery when it comes to Cook's countercharge and rolling the guns back? That's how we won. That's how we won 2 days ago. We rolled the guns. We had 12 people on arty. We rolled 2 guns back, and we won. Where's this energy on Cook's? Why on the worst map of the southbound rotation when it comes down to the arty positioning?
It took them 10 minutes to get that gun up there, and they haven't done anything. Union outnumbers CSA on the field. They have to wipe this group before CSA respawns can get up. You have Union moving up the stone wall, Nike and Krabby Brute. Hopefully the Union in the woods, which has half their team, if not more than half, need to charge in as well. 35 minutes, Union engaged.
I do not get... This is why I can't be an artilleryman for long. Right? I like blowing stuff up. I like when it's already in position. I hate the sluggishness of artillery. It's so slow. And I mean, it used to be faster if, maybe about a year and a half ago, I remember when artillery, or maybe 2 years ago, artillery used to be a lot faster to move. I liked the speed, the prior speed that they had it. They made it more realistic, and that's the one thing I will say. I love realism, but when it comes to moving cannons and limbers, it sucks. It's awful. I remember when you used to be able to get on what is it, Colquitt's Defense, you can get a Confederate gun all the way down to the road, and it would take you 4 minutes. Now, it's going to take you 15, maybe 20 minutes to maneuver past the cobblestone wall and all that stuff, because collision is now a bit buggy.
Thank you, Scubus.
See, one thing I didn't look at. Okay. Union
Off the
successfully
Union,
retook. Union played that well. The group in the woods charged a little late. Union had basically won the field at that point, but I mean, Union's not playing bad. It kind of fell apart when CSA hit them. We smacked them in the mouth, but Union responded accordingly, and similar ticket amounts. Union's not doing bad. 15 minutes in, at engaged, almost 15 minutes. But Viceroy is now pushing up.
And he's going to recover his flags. I think honestly, as soon as Union wiped the Confederate force, they should have pushed up a little bit and guarded their flags. At least delayed the respawns of the CSA.
Come on, son.
Then again, I can understand why they would just sit back here, because they nearly lost his position.
I'm all ahead, son.
It's the always interesting part about spectating all these matches is trying to guess what the leaders are thinking.
I see one of my, at least a pub NCOs, not part of the EB, that I like leading with. He's a good NCO, Clint.
You're saying he's an NCO in the game right now?
Everybody in formation.
I believe he is, yes. Clint, level 54. Very, very good NCO.
That's the one thing that makes me sad is, I've basically been spectating way before that XP update came out. And so I've just not gained any XP, and it makes me so very sad.
If I would have actually, I was bed sick with COVID for a month, and I missed the conversion period in its entirety, and I was so sad. I would have gotten level 100 by now. I had
what are you at now?
Before the conversion period, I had 2,500 hours.
Holy crap!
I'm level 67 now, and I'm at like 3,300, 3,400 around there. I
did get one YouTube comment. I think it was Watt. I don't remember the guy, Watt or something like that. But he was saying that he missed that period too, and now he's only a lower level, like 10 or something, when he could be up to like 40 right now. And he says no one respects him as an officer in game because he's so low level when he does do that.
Oh yeah, I experienced that too. I was level 40, and I remember when I was leading Burnside's Bridge, and at that time I've had like well over 2,600, 2,700 hours. There was this big regiment, not gonna name him, but it was a big regiment, big CO. He's not really well known. He doesn't really lead in pubs. He's just, he's one of those good private event figures. And the guy's like level 87. And he's like, oh, you don't know anything. You're such a low level. You don't know anything. It's like, I wish that were true. I really wish that were true because it'd make you feel better. But, the leveling system really diminishes respect, I realize, when you have such a low level. Even if you played for like maybe 7 years, it diminishes the respect people have, and they just, if they see your low level and you're leading, you immediately feel like it's prejudiced against you.
Yeah. The Union, so we'll continue this in a moment, but CSA are kind of hitting the Union left, starting to break through their first company. More companies pulling up. Union holding on the stone wall, trying to get some flanking shots. CSA directly charging at them. This charge is going over the whole battlefield, my friends.
Union's collapsing wonderfully. Collapsing wonderfully. What is this company? Is this a company? No, it's just the artillery.
Yeah. Union winning in the
16
woods.
16 artillerymen. That's enough to form a company of infantry right there.
Whoa, what are you doing?
Confederates kind of winning on that stone wall, but Union have won in the woods. I think the more important of the two areas. And Union's starting to countercharge here. get those flags down. Ticket's about even.
This is a close Reno's match.
There's another company, sir.
Keep going. They're weak. Flag back.
I like what Union's doing, counterattacking, trying to get out of lines, get those flags if
Vader's
possible.
calling a retreat. Calling a retreat. That's very smart to get the flags out of there. Very, very smart.
Yeah. CSA kind of holding.
Jackson rallying.
Is Union going to keep going? They most certainly can. And they're going to pull back.
I think that is a probably good call, actually.
Yeah. I think they
that's a
charge
good
plenty
call.
far forward. Because that XP system, if you don't know, right, so all the roles are locked behind a certain level except for private and flag bearer. I think flag bearer is locked too.
Flag
But
bearers. I think actually they made flag bearer level 1. Can access it now.
but for artillery you got to be level 2. For infantry, you for bugler, drummer boy, and I feel like there's one more. I don't know. You got to be level 2. And then for NCO, it's level 7. Level 10, it's officer. And past that, really the only thing that matters is like level 38, or wait, what is it? 34, you get the sword for the sergeant major role as an NCO. And then level 54, you get, or is it 45? You get the LAMAT for the CSA officer, which very few people have. But there's really no rewards for the XP system. And so there's almost no point for it outside of gatekeeping at the beginning. And as we're saying, right, if you have a low level, people lose respect for you. So I can understand locking the beginning ranks of officer and such, but past level 10, unless you have something in the game like the character customization, stuff with that you can unlock after getting a new level, I don't know if there's really a point to go for tier 100, because you have some dumb level 100 people in this community.
I would agree. Yep.
So
I know and here's where the nominating officers would work. I would say give officers that are nominated accept or decline their nomination, and then how many votes they get. And there's obviously 4 slots, so up to 4 nominations. And if a nomination gets voted no, they can swap out it with a new nomination. I think the nominations would severely
CSA charging?
the amount of competency on both sides.
DSA charging. A little of a funnel. 2 companies for CSA aren't charging in. That's the one part of Spectator that's kind of frustrating in the woods, is there's not a good angle to kind of watch a charge with all the smoke and everything. CSA actually pushing forward, not charging, just trying to hold a close position. I don't know.
I've been pleading for generals. I think generals would also change the meta. You know, it would change. It would have a more centralized structure.
One
which
person
would
in charge of the
improve
team.
Cohesion. It'd improve cohesion big time. Because new players would probably listen to the general. Now maybe more experienced players. Obviously, if it's like a more professional officer playing the general, then it could.
DSA went in the woods. Sorry, you keep going. I'm just trying to kind of give some commentary.
I agree. The reason I say they should add generals is because there's matches where the officers won't get along at all, and they need someone to hold it together. Someone higher than both of them.
I have a question to kind of counteract that is, what happens if an officer doesn't like... Okay, CSA's charging. I'll ask in a moment. CSA's charging the stone wall, though. The last Union group is here. Going in favor of CSA. CSA's probably going to hit taking losses, but...
This is where the artillery should always have a cannon. If they're going to push a cannon left, they should have a
well, they got one here.
cannon at the road.
I think he's about to fire it. It killed one person. That fuse was way too long. Killed a couple more, but...
Knocked a lot, but...
Yeah, CSA winning the field a little disorganized, but... Yeah, one question in terms of the general thing is, what happens if I'm an officer underneath and I just say, oh, the general's plan is dumb, I'm not going to listen and do my own thing?
I think, honestly, it should there should be a system that it penalizes when you go against the general's orders, but there's a way to sort of.
That's what we're doing.
I think the generals. Well, there's where the nominated system, it would key up there too. The general should be nominated. I think honestly, it shouldn't be nominated between everybody. The general should be nominated between the 4 officers. Most importantly. And in case of a tiebreaker, then let's say the NCOs can now have access to vote on the nomination. I really, really think that would improve coordination with people who refuse to coordinate with each other. I think it also, especially if you make it like level 60, right? You have to have the black background in the XP or something like that. If they're gonna keep the XP system or the current leveling system, they could make it like that as well. I just think there's so much cool stuff you can do with generals.
In the corner. They're not gonna do it unless we're in the
There's so
corner.
much
We gotta
potential.
hide.
It has way more
back.
potential than musicians, for sure.
A Union guy just shot his own officer.
Rise up, right face double containment. We're headed into the crowd, gentlemen. Cream of the
Anyways,
crowd. Cream of the crowd.
Union's
Average
going
day
to
of the
corn.
unit.
I guess I have one question for the nomination system, right? So you, as CSA is kind of pushing around the far side too. I think they're gonna be in the corn, but so the nomination system obviously is supposed to keep good officers in place and allow people to keep bad officers out. But the one downside I could see of that is, well, if you're a new officer wanting to play and learn the game, if you have a few bad games, right, you might have an impression and people might never nominate you to do more games, if they even nominate you as a new player in the first place to be an officer. So I guess how do you counterbalance that as well?
You could always create a
CSA
let's
cap?
say if there's not enough. Ooh,
That had to be by accident.
I think that was indeed by accident. Honestly, the CSA majority is concentrated in the woods. The Union should push the angle right now.
Union's a fair amount disorganized, though. A lot of
Yeah,
their companies are holding back in the corn.
As soon as they enter the cornfield, the Union cohesion goes to nothing. It's non-existent. But going back to the nomination, I think honestly, if there's not enough officers, let's say there's only 3 officers nominated, and there obviously needs to be a 4th, you can go as far as to volunteer for it, and then whoever volunteers first. You know how it's like whoever gets the fastest click, whoever volunteers first can get the slot. As well as I do think with that system in place, there should be. There
Tater's
should
trying to
be a
fight the corn.
system that would spread out the companies too, and maybe
I
maybe
would
have
agree
it a
with
limit
that.
like 35 per company, something like that. Even though I do love, don't get me wrong, I love leading 95-man
Well, at least
companies.
out of the corn.
Those
Oh,
volleys are awesome, absolutely deadly. But I've gotten personal complaints from other officers sometimes when I lead. You're taking all the people, it's like, well,
Get better at the game. I don't know. Anyways. But I do think another issue that could be with that nomination system is if you have a regiment that likes to pub a lot, and there are a few of those out there, they could always hop on, get their guys on, and just vote their guys in. Sure, it wouldn't be every time, but it could be a fair amount of times. So
that is a good point there, yeah.
Union's pushing.
Maybe with the service record system, it could do something with that then, have it where,
That'll be interesting.
honestly, it could have like, a few, maybe like 3 or 4 votes per clan when it comes to nominations. Or, scale it depending on the size of the clan, since they're doing the clan system and service records.
Yeah,
This is
maybe.
a wide flank by Union. Do they even have their flags? Let's see.
Yeah, they should. Yeah, they do.
1, 2,
CSA's all collapsed in the wood side. They got to know Union's going around. Union is probably going to take them a minute and a half to get where they want to be, which is flanking around. So,
An interesting one. It's been a while since we've been able to do this.
Senior
Honestly,
Dad's
I
saying
like
this will
that-
be interesting.
I like that
We
the
hopping
main
over the fence
forces,
here.
at least
We're
the people
pushing
that
all
are
the way
just
back
fighting
up
at
the
main,
hill
just go
towards
up
that
and
stone
engage.
wall.
Keep them
Once we
distracted
brace
as
for
long
their
as
initial
possible.
charge
If
and
this
we
is
hold
going
it,
to work.
We're going to start shifting left down the wall onto the cab zone. It's not far.
Union's
You're
got, I
expecting
think,
Union
one
to come
shot
from
at
the
this.
cornfield, not from this wide flank. That is amazing. I like the teamwork between Daz, Nike, and the others.
Yeah, at least they are doing something. I have not seen this happen before on Reno's.
First time serving. Let's see if this sets a new precedent.
That's true. And
Maybe
we'll see
I'll
if
add it to my new playbook.
Union's got to reform. They're so spread out. I think they are. They're playing this well. Obviously, I think they got one shot at this. If they don't win this push, CSA will hold the cap and win. But
they're clumping up here. That's a great idea. You don't want to be a long snake line. I hate to say it, but those always do not work.
We're gonna hit the
like
wall.
a long ribbon.
The second my guys hit the wall, I think you guys could easily just split.
And if you're gonna push
and
up, you need to have the flags in the rear.
Wherever
those are
attack
beacons.
comes from, be the anchor since I'm flagless.
I love the Union flag. Don't get me wrong.
I'm still
love
flagless, so I'm gonna be. I can
have it in the
anchor
back
down,
though.
You can't anchor down shit. You got no flag. Let's just fucking charge.
Well, no shit. I'm just gonna go up the center then. Yeah. What the?
Interesting. Some of the Union officers were talking about splitting up once Senior Daz hits the wall, and it looks like there was some confusion. Senior Daz, his company doesn't have their flag, so now we're down to 2.5 minutes. It's gonna be about.
Balance points is to charge, yeah. Since he doesn't have the flag, just to charge in, which again could be good, but the only problem with this wide flank here is it's too far. They're gonna notice you before you even get close to that line.
You would hope. Union's about to hit braking.
I would
mean
hold
anything.
at this. I would hold at this angle at the stone wall here.
Shoot
Wait till
him.
they volley again, and then full send right in their rear. Waste the
CSA's
shots.
Nope. We gotta kill these guys first. All right, form the line here. Fire wheel. Also says front. Point in them boys.
What? They're gonna sit back and shoot? Wow.
No, Union, no. You had it.
Some going to the rocks, which why the rocks are the worst spot. The stone wall is the superior position in this. CSA is starting to realize, turning around. They're going to collapse on this. They should start retaking the point here any moment. It looks like they're going to charge in as well.
I don't think it's gonna get here.
Union, no, please.
They should have charged in their bag.
Yeah, this hurts. It hurts because these officers, there's 2 of them on here, 3 of them actually that I like leading with. That's depressing.
Point still going in
Union's
Union's
on the
favor.
ground, I'd see, shooting them is not going to win. I'm sorry, it's not. Even if you recap, the CSA is just going to charge you off again. They got buck and roll. They can do it.
Yeah, half CSA charging. They're getting white because CSA is a little disorganized. A good chunk, though, holding up on the snake fence, shooting the Union down. Union might retake the point and go up to a middle taking losses, but the CSA better not charge the middle rocks. Why?
Oh, and a mistake by the CSA.
The middle rocks should never be charged over or taken. It's the worst spot in the game, even though it's capping point. Maybe they're trying to defeat in detail, but...
Oh, the CSA charged the stone wall at the same time.
Oh, crap, they're
And they
winning.
thwarted.
Holy crap, they won that.
This is why the Union should have never, ever played the rocks. Why play the rocks on this map? It's so dumb.
Huh.
Sorry, the strategy is so dumb. They have a giant stone wall here, and a large percentage of it is on point, and they're just going to outnumber you there, and outkill you, especially.
It's, I will say, I thought Union was, like, winning that charge for the most part. You got some going from Maine, but it's the interesting thing about the spectator cam is you can look at something and just not see something behind the spectator cam, as you can see on the ground. So thank you, John Wick, for coming on. I really appreciate it. Any last words and anything you want to shout out?
Yeah, I'd like to shout out to the officers. Number one, good effort on both sides. Couple mistakes on both sides that both sides can work upon. I think I will add a new tactic to my playbook on Reno's, though, with that wide flank. But I would do one thing differently than, obviously, what we've seen here. Shout out to my personal group for war rights, the EB, Eagle Brigade, down the name. We are an NA group, primarily, looking to extend into EU time zones and stuff. So if you like chilling, hanging out with a brotherhood, consider us.
Yeah, that link will be in the description next to John Wick's name. But again, thank you for coming. If you all enjoyed, please like, comment, share, subscribe if you want to support the channel more. Check out the description where we have the Patreon where we live stream everything. And you can also join us on Discord and check out our merch. But nonetheless, we appreciate you watching. It means the world, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your night. See you in the next one.